You know that moment when you pick a hero and feel like they perfectly match your playstyle? Well, in Marvel Cosmic Invasion, that makes all the difference. Today, we're going to dive deep into the roster and discover the best characters for every playstyle, whether you're more offensive, strategic, defensive, or that player who loves causing chaos across the entire field. So get comfortable on the couch because the video is about to start. When talking about a short-range brawler, Wolverine is that character who forces you to stay glued to the enemy at all times, giving them no room to breathe. He isn't a hero for those who like reacting from afar or overthinking before pressing a button. It's constant pressure, hit after hit, always looking for the next opening to chain another ground combo. Because of this, playing as him feels very physical. You can almost feel the rhythm of the brawl through the fast animations and the impact of every slash. What defines his style is the absurd cadence of his basic attacks and the ease of chaining everything in sequence without letting the enemy play. The claws connect fast, the strings come out with almost no delay, and before you know it, you're keeping common enemies in stun lock using just light heavy and simple ground variations. In a horde, this is gold. You're not thinking about one enemy at a time, you're clearing rows of soldiers through pure brawling, cutting through the front line before anyone can raise a guard or charge a projectile. But the detail that makes this style shine is how the game rewards those who understand frame data even without seeing numbers on the screen. Wolverine has moves that recover quickly, so if you end the combo at the right time, you almost always return to neutral before the enemy counterattack, ready to re-engage or dodge. Messed up the timing of a heavy, or insisted on hitting when the enemy had already woken up, the punishment is harsh because the short reach gives you no safety margin. You're always one hit away from a punch to the face. That's where precision dodging comes in. With a close quarters brawler like Wolverine, rolling or dashing at the exact moment is just as important as knowing how to combo. The window between the end of your string and the start of the enemy's attack is small, so you start reading wind-up animations, shoulder recoils, and the glow of heavy hits as if it were a 2D fighting game locked onto you. After a while, dodging, sticking back in, and landing another short combo becomes an automatic reflex, and the gameplay becomes a cycle of get in, tear them up, get out by a pixel of health, go back in, tearing again. Another point that makes this style addictive is how his kit interacts with grab mechanics and position control. The feral grab, for example, isn't just a stylish grab. It's a tool for repositioning and extending pressure, throwing enemies in the direction you want, and breaking annoying guards that don't open with normal hits. On high difficulties, you start using this type of tool not just to deal damage, but to organize the mess on the screen, pulling dangerous targets close to you and leaving the rest of the wave on hold until it's their turn to get hit. Short-range combat brawler with Wolverine is that style that looks simple at first glance, but gets increasingly technical the more you insist on mastering it. In the beginning, it's just mashing fast attacks and having fun watching everything explode and hit stop. Later, you're thinking about frame advantage, which part of the combo is safe, when to cancel with a dodge or dash, and how to use the cosmic swap to cover exactly those few situations where his reach leaves you vulnerable. He's the type of character that transforms every wave into timing and enemy reading practice, and when it clicks, he makes you feel like the absolute master of the front line. When we dive into the control style, Iron Man emerges as the absolute king for those who prefer to dictate the pace of the fight without ever needing to get their hands dirty. He's not about getting into a melee brawl, but about transforming the entire screen into his personal territory, bombarding it with projectiles that force the enemy to dance to your rhythm. I love this sense of superiority, like piloting a flying fortress while the ads run in circles trying to break through the blockade. His kit is pure horizontal space management. The repulsors and missiles create an invisible wall that punishes anyone bold enough to advance. You stay at the back of the screen, alternating between continuous beams to clear rows and charged shots to tag priority targets, always with the screen's axis as your main playground. In practice, this means that hordes that would be chaos for a brawler become just predictable XP points, because Iron Man doesn't let anything cross the middle of the screen without paying a heavy price. What elevates this style is the focus on the energy bar. It's not just fuel for specials, it's the heart of the strategy. Spend too much on laser spam, and you're left vulnerable in neutral. Manage it well, alternating lights to recharge and heavies for burst, and the game becomes a symphony of safe damage, where the enemy never reaches you. I always feel that shiver down my spine when the bar is low and an elite wave advances, but hitting the timing to recharge while kiting is what makes this playstyle addictive, rewarding patience with total dominance. Positioning is everything here. Stay mobile with his aerial dashes, always adjusting to the horizontal center to maximize the cone of fire, and use the terrain to funnel enemies into your projectiles. Avoiding direct contact isn't cowardice, it's pure intelligence. While brawlers tank hits to apply pressure, you minimize risk by switching positions and forcing the opponent into your zoning game. After a few runs, you start predicting entire spawns, pre-charging attacks toward the corners of the screen even before the enemies appear. On bosses, this style shines even more because energy management allows for insane setups like infinite beams during ad phases or charged bursts in post-telegraph windows. Pair him with a tank like Venom to cover flanks, and Iron Man becomes the maestro orchestrating the damage without ever entering the enemy's crosshairs. It's frustrating for opponents to see their health melt from afar, and for me, it's proof that zone control isn't passive. It's calculated aggression, where every projectile is a declaration of, "This screen is mine." Playing zone control with Iron Man makes me rethink what dominating a beat-em-up means. It's not about who hits harder, but who controls where the fight happens. It's technical, strategic, and absurdly satisfying when you clear an entire stage without taking a scratch, just through energy, timing, and positioning reads. If you're tired of risky rushdowns, pick Iron Man and feel the power of commanding the distance. It will change how you view waves forever. Aerial dominance in Marvel Cosmic Invasion is that style that turns the game into a lesson in positional superiority, especially with Storm as the absolute queen of this elevated plane. She doesn't just fly or use double jumps, she dominates the space above the ground enemy's line of sight, making the floor a hostile territory for others while you operate from an untouchable angle. I love how this changes the mindset. Instead of worrying about what's ahead, you think of altitude as your primary resource, attacking from above with the feeling that the entire fight is happening at your pace. Storm shines precisely because she can aim at and punish aerial targets with frame advantages that ground characters only dream of. You launch an enemy upward with a rising strike, follow up with arched lightning that catches multiple foes in a juggle, and keep everything floating while completely avoiding the explosions and sweeps that clear the ground. In practice, hordes that would be a nightmare for brawlers become easy prey because she controls who goes up, who stays, and when the combo ends, all without ever stepping into the chaos below. The technical focus here is pure control of the vertical axis. Learning to manage height isn't just about staying in the air, but about using it as a tool for constant pressure. You start reading spawns, rising to the upper level before ads arrive, and using aerial dashes to reposition in diagonals that confuse the enemy AI. I always feel that rush when hovering above an elite wave, unleashing lightning chains that connect from one corner of the screen to the other, forcing everything to react upward where only you rule. Avoiding area attacks on the ground is the big payoff of this style. Those radial bombs, stomps, and energy waves that sweep away brawlers become irrelevant when Storm is operating 70% of the time in flight mode. Against bosses like Sauron or Annihilus, this is a game changer. While tanks are tanking ground pounds, you're up there tagging aerial ads and extending main damage with safe pokes. It's frustrating for enemies to wake up only to see another lightning bolt falling from the sky before they return to a stun. Air combo extension is where Storm becomes an insane scoring machine, resetting juggles with fast lights and heavies that keep the height stable for another rotation. You don't end at the peak of the air like a common mortal. You chain cancelable specials, use momentum for cross-ups, and return to aerial neutral with bar to spare for your ultimate. After mastering it, every wave becomes a vertical spectacle, with combos that flow like a dance of lightning, and you only descend to ground pound what's left. Pure dominance. Playing aerial dominance with Storm makes me wonder why anyone stays stuck on the ground when there's this much freedom up there. It's technical, rewarding, and visually epic, transforming a beat-em-up into an air brawler with verticality. Management that punishes anyone who ignores the third dimension. If you want to feel invincible without sweating in a rushdown, pick her, head up, and rule the whole screen from above. She'll become your favorite main in no time. The grappler style on single targets is that approach that turns you into a relentless hunter of high priority threats, ignoring annoying defenses with throws and finishers that turn mini-bosses into paper. She-Hulk is the perfect embodiment of this. She doesn't waste time clearing hordes bit by bit, she goes straight to what matters, grabbing the big guy in the middle of the mess and smashing him into dust. I love this sense of surgical prioritization, as if the rest of the screen pauses while you carry out the sentence on the elite target. What defines this style is the ability to deal massive single target damage, bypassing barriers that would block common strikes. With She-Hulk, her grabs pierce through basic guards, catch armored enemies or those with counterframes, and toss them into the air or walls for a sequence that melts health fast. In practice, this means identifying a spawning mini-boss, ignoring the ads for a second, and focusing everything on him. A well-timed throw clears the threat before it becomes a problem for the whole team. The big technical trick is using the grab animation time as pure invulnerability. While she pulls and smashes, iframes protect you from hits that would catch common brawlers. It's like a built-in super armor on an offensive move. You get in the enemy's face, tank what comes your way, and come out with the target dead or stunned. I always plan runs with this in mind. I position her to flank, grab during an elite's windup, and use the invulnerable window to flip the momentum of the entire wave. Isolating priority targets becomes an art with her. In dense stages, you use lights to create space, dash grab the mini-boss, and the rest of the horde stays on hold while you finish with a slam or aerial follow-up. This shines against enemies with shields or regeneration, where normal attacks hit weak, but the grab ignores everything and resets the fight in your favor. After a few hours, you start reading spawns like a sniper, always with She-Hulk ready to isolate and burst whatever threatens screen control. In co-op or duos, this style elevates the team. She holds the heavy single target while partners clear ads, creating a flow where no one dies to ignored elites. Her throws even have indirect crowd control utility, tossing the boss into the middle of the horde for chain reactions. It's addictive to see his bar drop 30% in one grab combo, feeling that you didn't just damage him, but removed a real threat from the map. Playing with She-Hulk makes me value efficiency above all else. It's not about infinite hits, but about choices that change the fight in an instant. It's rewarding for those who like precise reads and high punishment, turning every grab into a declaration of dominance. If you're tired of grinding endless ads, pick her, isolate the big guy, and feel the power of ending fights with a single move. It becomes pure addiction. Boss damage with Cosmic Ghost Rider is the style that makes you feel like a vengeful demon, programmed to explode health bars as if they were paper. He is widely considered the best for melting bosses because his kit screams extreme aggressiveness, with no frills regarding zoning or mobility. It's pure pressure, single target that punishes any open window. I love taking him against a huge boss, watching their life drop in insane chunks and thinking, This isn't a fight, it's a summary execution. What makes him the king of bosses is the technical mechanic of the special chain attack, which carries a high damage multiplier specifically for single targets. You aim at the boss, unleash the "get over here" to pull them into your range, chain the charge special, and the damage scales as if the game had a personal grudge against the big guy. In practice, this ignores partial defenses post-block, resetting their guard and opening them up for more pressure, turning long phases into burst marathons, where every chain is a step toward the end. His ultimate, Motorcycle Annihilation Bash, takes this to the extreme, one of the highest raw damage outputs in the game, with the Cosmic Bike running over everything in an AoE that focuses on the vulnerable boss. It's ideal for post-guard break, when the boss is stunned or in an open stance. You charge it, release, and watch 40 to 50% of the bar vanish in a flaming flash. I always save this bomb for the critical moment, feeling the climax when the bash connects perfectly and the boss staggers into the next punishment cycle. Technically, the focus is aggressive timing. Use basics to poke and build meter, special chain to chunk health, and the ultimate in the exact window after a super armor break. He doesn't have the mobility to run away, but he compensates with iframes on the chain's startup and insane tracking that catches predictable rolls. On high difficulties, where bosses tank eternal hordes, Ghost Rider becomes the closer. Clear adds quickly for his basics, isolate the boss, and melt them without mercy. In duos, he synergizes brutally with tanks that hold adds, Wolverine peeling while you bash the boss, or Storm stunning aerials for you to focus on the ground. The single target multiplier scales with hit stacks, rewarding aggressive runs where you ignore crowd control for pure burst. It's addictive to see Annihilus or Sauron go from full HP to half in a chain plus ultimate combo, proving that extreme aggression beats patience. Cosmic Ghost Rider for boss damage makes me rethink beat-em-ups as execution duels, not infinite grinds. It's direct, explosive, and satisfying as hell, turning bosses into technical speed kills. If you struggle with long bars, grab Ghost Rider, pull with the chain, and bash until the end. He'll become your secret weapon for no damage run trophies. The support and assistance style is the approach that transforms the Cosmic Swap from a mere trade into a strategic synergy machine, where one hero becomes the invisible anchor sustaining the other on the front line. You keep one character as the main support, summoning specific assists to turn the tide without even needing to swap for full combat, like using Spider-Man's web shot to paralyze an entire horde right in your main's face. I love this feeling of being a maestro, orchestrating chaos with surgical touches that make direct damage look too primitive. The focus is on prioritizing utility over brute force. The inactive hero isn't a bench warmer. They are a living toolbox of skills you call upon at the exact moment. Spider-Man as an assist is pure gold. That web shot glues groups to the floor, creating absurd windows for your brawler or zoner to punish without interruption. In practice, you run with Wolverine in front, tearing things up, but you summon Spidey's web to freeze advancing elites, turning chaotic waves into clean executions where the support dictates the pace. Technically, it's about reading the timing of assist commands to maximize impact. Call too early, and the cooldown punishes you. Too late, and the momentum vanishes. Spider-Man paralyzes, gives your main time to reposition or burst, and you return to neutral with total screen control. I spend entire runs testing different anchors. Webs for crowds, Storm's lightning for aerial stun, She-Hulk's grabs for peeling, feeling how each assist creates layers of strategy that elevate the team beyond solo play. This approach shines on high difficulties or against bosses, where managing multiple threats alone is suicide. Keep the support as Spider-Man anchoring adds while your Iron Man zones the boss. The web shot interrupts ad spawns, minimizing risk for the main and stacking utility that pure damage never reaches. It's frustrating for enemies to wake up only to be stuck in a web, watching the combo come with no chance to react. Pure, indirect control that makes you feel light years ahead. In co-op, it becomes divine synergy. Your assist covers the partner's flanks, creating flows where no one dies to surprise pressure. The secret is choosing anchors with complementary cooldowns and hitboxes that extend the main kit, like webs resetting juggles or beams covering horizontals. After mastering it, you look at offensive styles and think, why tank hits if you can avoid everything with one assist button? Ultimately, support and assistance with Spider-Man as an anchor makes me value the beat-em-up as an internal team sport, not a solo rush. It's cerebral, rewarding, and turns tedious runs into tactical masterclasses, prioritizing utility that multiplies everything. If you're still playing without smart assists, build your duo now and feel the power of controlling without breaking a sweat. It will become your game's meta forever. The mobility and evasion style in Marvel Cosmic Invasion is that frenetic dance that makes you feel like a ghost on the screen, always one step ahead of the enemy chaos. With Rocket Raccoon as the perfect example of a speedster, the focus is on constant dashes and animation cancels to get into range, detonate, and vanish before the opponent completes their windup. I love this adrenaline of moving through the stage as if I own it, reducing risk to almost zero, while the rest of the roster is still recovering from the last hit. Rocket shines because his high mobility allows for insane hit and run. Dash in with a quick grenade, cancel the recovery frame into an air dash, and you're already out of range before the counterattack activates. You don't stay glued like a brawler or zone from afar. You transition constantly, taking flanks, clearing isolated adds, and returning to neutral with your bar intact. In practice, dense hordes become a playground because he gets in the middle, explodes what matters, and disappears, leaving enemies swinging at the air with no target. The technical focus is purely on recovery frames. Learning to cancel attack animations with a dash or jump at the exact frame reduces your vulnerable time to crumbs, creating loops where you attack more than you defend. Dodge windows become the heart of the style. Read the enemy startup, dash cancel in the middle of your light string, and you're already punishing the whiff with a safe heavy. I spend hours grinding this, feeling the click when the timing becomes muscle memory, and suddenly, bosses that punish pressure become movement puzzles you solve by dancing. Taking full advantage of dodge windows is what elevates Rocket from cute and explosive to a lethal speedster. Aerial dash to dodge ground pounds. Cancel into a follow-up bomb, and already repositioned for the next threat. On high difficulties, this trivializes heavy elites. Get into the blind spot, drop a random explosive, dash out while they wake up. It's frustrating for enemies to see damage coming out of nowhere because you never stay long enough to be caught in their recovery. In duos or co-op, his mobility covers assists and peels. Dash to save a partner, cancel into a Spider-Man web shot, and return to the main hit run. The small kit compensates with insane speed, turning the long recovery frames of others into your absolute advantage. After mastering it, you look at tanks and think, why tank if you can avoid everything by flying? Mobility and evasion with Rocket makes me see the beat-em-up as a ballet of frames, not brute force. It's technical, addictive, and rewarding for those who love pure movement, reducing damage taken to zero with dashes that become art. If you're tired of being caught in recovery, take the raccoon, cancel everything, and dance across the screen. It will redefine your run forever.